like 3,499 for Sabu against one time for Grim Reaper. So if you look at the big picture, I really think Sabu kicked his ass. Dude, did you know you can subscribe to onlywrestlers.com and keep in touch with your favorite wrestlers? The party never has to end.
One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
And like I was at the last match too, and then I saw him the day after, and he was talking about it. Like he was just joking around about it, and like, yeah, that spot wasn't supposed to happen. All this shit was out of whack, and all this kind of stuff. And you know, he was Sabu.
And when you look back at it, Dom, you can see in the pictures now he was a little bloated.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wrestlers over the years have, like when a lot of our friends have dropped dead, I've heard that referred to before. I've heard the talk where they say, you know what, I noticed he was getting that bloat on him that other guys get before they die, and then he died. Looking back, I can see that on Sabu. So he had some signs. He had some signs. It wasn't something like he just one time fucked up and, you know, mixed two wrong things or somebody gave him. It wasn't like that. He had something going on with him. And I remember him telling me that he had something in his stomach that, you know, they sounded bad. And I was like, dude, you know, you should get that checked out. And he gave the answer that, no, I'd rather not know. I'm scared to find out. So this is worth bringing up on this platform to people that are listening that might share that. I don't think that's a smart way to be. I get it. You know, I get it. I used to be like that first time when I was super young, like 21, 22, something like that. I remember and AIDS was really popular, you know, and I got my first AIDS test. I thought the same thing, like, no, I don't want to know, you know. And it's so stupid because then you go around spreading it and killing more people if you do have it. And I did get tested, and I remember I was so afraid because all the hype had me believing like, well, for sure I got it. You know, I've done everything they talk about that you're not supposed to do. In the end, I would recommend, you know, getting yourself checked out anytime you have reason to believe that there's something going on inside you. Your body has a way of telling you and letting you know.
And because if you cut it off at the pass, it could, you know, to your point, you're right, Rob, because if you don't bury your head in the sand and you get ahead of it, you might be able to save your own life if you catch whatever it might be early enough.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
What's that got to say?
Sabu's bald in this match. I just wanted to interrupt for a second. That literally, he's bald in this match. I've never seen him bald.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's crazy to see him bald. Yeah, that's yeah.
He gave his hair to a girl that was lost her hair from chemotherapy treatments.
Oh my
God. I did not know that. And you know, Rob, I think that's something cool, and Dom and Katie, to bring up about Sabu, you know, because I don't think enough people realize or talk about how caring, like good-hearted this guy was behind the scenes. Like, he literally would take the shirt off his back to give it to someone. Like, he's, for fans out there watching, you know, or maybe younger wrestlers or wrestlers who didn't know Sabu, like, hypothetically, if there's a bunch of the boys just had a show and they go to a Cracker Barrel, you know, and everybody's hanging out in the same place eating, he'd find a waitress and say, give me the check. I'm paying for everybody. I mean, that was Sabu. He just was a super good-hearted guy. Besides being very funny, but he was very giving. I didn't know that about his hair, Rob. I did not know that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Sabu was the most generous person I'd ever met. He was overly generous and didn't know how to keep his own money. And you know, a lot of the word online people are talking about is that he didn't have the life he deserved. I agree with that. He should have been a millionaire several times over, should be acknowledged in a lot more prestigious way than he ever was. When it comes to his money, unfortunately, you know, he wanted to give it all away. He was always like that. When we were in Memphis, USWA in 91, I remember at a gas station, like we were all chipping in, you know, our money 4 ways to get gas. And he gave $10 to this homeless guy that was begging for money. And we were like, dude, why'd you do that? We were just talking. You were just saying you only have $20. He was like, yeah, but he didn't have anything.
Wow.
Yeah, that's him. That was
That's
him. Yeah.
exactly that's how we saw it. Yeah, he gave one of my first shows. I brought my friend Andy, my fake little brother Andy, with me to the show, and afterwards, like he paid for his meal along with everyone else's, and we were like, no, I mean, his mom actually gave him money so he could come with us tonight. You know, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And he was like, no, I got it. And like, why would you don't got to pay for his? I brought him. I feel bad. And he goes, no, he didn't make any money tonight. I did. So
Yeah,
he just
yeah,
he always liked the idea of everyone being together for each other. He liked,
Yeah.
if he could have his way back in the ECW days, he would rather that a bunch of wrestlers all stayed in his room than stay in their rooms.
Yeah.
He liked to hang out. Besides helping them, he liked being in the business. He loved the business.
The camaraderie, the brotherhood.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's what was a neat thing about him. You could tell, like, and you see the reception back online and everything like that, and how many people said how kind he was and generous he was. Rob, I saw you like something on Instagram or something too. Where was it? Did he help two fans get into pay for their tickets or something like that? Or
I saw that story. I didn't know that story.
Okay.
But
It totally sounds like him.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
just totally him.
Yeah, it does.
And you know, I used to, of course, I tried to help him. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And of course, you know, I've reached in and had to, and he's cost me, of course, a lot of times. I mean, if you, yeah. Here's to the if you never seen Sabu mad, or you've never thought Sabu was going to die, then you really didn't know him. So let me just say that.
That's pretty heavy.
He may be gone now, but the way I see it, Grim Reaper versus Sabu was really like 3,499 for Sabu against one time for Grim Reaper. So if you look at the big picture, I really think Sabu kicked his ass. There's been so many times, and even on the documentary, boom, he gets shot in the fucking mouth. Could have died there. Got that bacteria in his leg. Could have died there.
Yeah.
Those are just two quick ones, and I bet I could come up with more ways than there were attempts on killing Fidel Castro, and no one probably gets that, but so many. I mean, I pulled him out of the swimming pool when he was could have. He didn't even know how to swim, right? And this was in Asoma days too, which made it even harder. But he would stand with his back to the pool on the edge, and he would jump backwards and catch himself with his fingers on the side to get wet and just pull himself right back out so he could lay in the sun. Sometimes his fingers would slip, and he didn't have a plan B.
Wow.
I would jump in there and grab him, and then we'd have a funny story afterwards, you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sometimes that's happened, but